I got into dairy farming because I grew up on one. My dad had a small farm. And I enjoyed it when I was small. I was always there running to, when the vet came to see what was going on, and I can even remember the vet saying, "You better keep him around. He's the only one that's interested." So that was, I guess, the start of my interest in it. My dad was killed in a tractor accident when I was 23, I believe it was, and since then I've been just basically running a farm. So then I took it over with my mom and eventually bought the place. And then we, about 12 years ago, we bought an exchange to get this place. Development was crowding where we were living, and so we traded farms, which came out to be a very nice deal for us and my boys. So my day begins at 4:15 in the morning. Get up, get out to the barn about 4:30. I feed cows, either let cows in or rebed cows, whatever it's done depending on the time of the year. Milk cows for a couple hours, leave cows out, or feed cows again, and have breakfast, take my morning nap, and then I'm back out doing chores, feeding, whatever it takes. Other animals have to be fed, the other heifers besides the cows and things. During the summer, after you get done with that, then you'll be out either working the fields for planting, or you'll be cutting hay for harvesting, and then fall harvest. So I work approximately during the winter maybe 7 or 8 hours a day, and during the summer harvest planting time probably 10 to 12 hours a day. We own 120 acres, and we rent another 38. We have about 50 milk cows and 50 young stock, that's newborn calves until springing heifers. Springing heifers are heifers that are bred, getting close to fresh. I have 4 sons from age 36 to 20. The boys on the farm always helped, or had to help. If you live here, you have to help on a farm. Every farm has that. But of course, there's always that one time when they're teenagers where they don't know why or why they should be having to work for you. They're not getting any money out of it, you know, even though their gas, their clothes, and their sports equipment was all paid for. They could understand why they had to help, because none of their friends did. So there was that one with each boy in their teen years where you have to go out. They'd be in the middle of making hay or something, and they'd be balking, and you'd have to do your spiel of how this is a family farm and this is the only way we're going to survive. And it usually only took once, and they were fine with that. As far as the boys helping now, there's only John living at home, and he helps a little bit because he has a job off and on weekends or something. But Harrison has been helping out whenever I need somebody right away. Otherwise, Harry, usually now when I have a heifer freshening, he helps me get her in the barn. We pull her into a stall and get her tied up nice and tight and hope she stays there for a couple days until she's used to everything. And so that's about the extent.
I was born and raised on a dairy farm. Moved out when I was 19. I'm 23 now. I still come back and help almost all the time. So I help my dad with chores and everything. He's getting old. I help my dad with heifers, new heifers, getting them into the barn and getting them tied up to their stalls so they can get ready to be milked.
And as far as the boys working, it helped them with their first and sometimes second job that they've gotten. The bosses have gotten back to me on how hard working they are and how pleased they are with them, and most of them have decided to keep them on as long as they can if the boys want to stay with that kind of job, because they were so pleased with the work they did.
But overall, living on a dairy farm was a pretty good life. I had a lot of fun, and I learned how to really work hard, which has helped me set up for today's world.
I enjoyed dairy farming because there's so many different things. You're never doing one thing all year long. You are milking cows all year long, which is pain sometimes, but you're doing either field work, harvesting. It's just more of a variety. It's not like a job in a plant where you're stamping something out 30 years, you know, and it's the same job basically. This is a little different. Every year is a little different. early spring, late spring, hot summer, cold summer, warm winter, cold winter, lots of snow, no snow. It's always a little different every year. And your crop is a little different every year. So it's a, a challenge, but it's enjoyable. Dairy farming can be a good life. Whether it's a good living is debatable, I guess. You have highs and lows, which is the hardest part of it, because basically when the milk price is high, you should pay off as much as you can, not buy as much pieces of equipment or whatever. And sometimes that's hard to do. You always say, well, next year it's going to be a good year too. And then things turn completely around and then you get pretty short on funds. You can make a decent living out of dairy farming, but I don't know. Depends on what you think. If you're going to want, like many of our friends have cabins up at the lake with dairy farming, that's not going to happen. If you're going to go on vacation for 2 weeks during the summer, that's not going to happen with dairy farming. So it depends. If you're happy on the farm, then it's a good life.